Telephone is a fossil on the bedside wood, ringing with a persistent rhythm I once understood. I watch the moon turn the dust mounts into gold, artificial dignity for the lonely and the old. Answering the vibration of a long-buried need. When I finally put the plastic to the side of my head, it wasn't a greeting, but a summons from the dead. She handles the words like a surgical blade, avoiding the nostalgia and the shadow she made. Implicit promises of a maybe and a soon, under the cold and the diagnostic moon. But I'm counting the pits and the silver and the steel, gauging the distance and the failure of the wheel. The luster is a ghost I've already spent on the interest of a story that neither of us meant. Diamonds are hard, but the erosion is deeper. The wake of the ghost and the toll of the keeper. I didn't say goodbye, I didn't offer a trace, just a click of the fossil in a lightless space. No closure, no theater, or cinematic end. Just the sound of the mail that refuses to bend. Some debts are paid in the absence of sound, leaving the jewelry to rot in the hotel hallway is a gathering of shrouds. The phone is a fossil, the oxide is real, accepting the rust on the heart and the wheel. Diamonds of dust, diamonds of dust. And hum of a São Paulo afternoon is shattered by the fossil's electric tune. 10 years of distance, a decade of skin, collapsing at the sound of the ghost coming in. Curiosity's a needle, a rider slow vice, luring the marrow back into the ice. Suddenly the office walls are dirty NYC glass, watching the grayscale memories pass. I see the snow on your hair, casting hoe and bright before you unmade me. In the middle of the night you said you were nostalgic, a dry silver laugh cutting the ghost of our history in half. I used to call it ambiguity intelligence, but now I just see it as a lack of benevolence. You hammer the diamonds like they hadn't turned to grid, polishing the edges where the foundation split. But I'm counting the rust spots, the permanent stain, being deadly residue of a decade of rain. I've already paid the invoice, I've settled the bill for the slow disintegration of the sovereign will. It isn't a romance, it isn't a revival, just the cold hard math of a technical survival lie. The voice on the wire is a surgical thread, summoning the parts of me I thought were dead. You handle the then like a precious stone, ignoring the oxide that's reached the bone. I laughed at the offer, a reaction so dry under the weight of a lead-colored sky. You're a chapter I finished, a book I left shut, a jagged edge of memory, a permanent cut. The snow in the square was a beautiful lie, a whiteout to cover the how and the why. I don't want the theater, I don't want the stage, I'm just a body at the end of the page. I am a Ravina Hall see. The telephone is a leak in the ceiling of the now, pouring out a voice I've forgotten how to house. Time isn't a line or a ribbon or a thread. It's the chemical reaction of the things we never said. I listen to you vibrate through the distance and the wire, trying to rekindle a fossilized fire. But memory's a synthesis of jagged-edged design, where the diamond of the moment meets the rust upon the line. Precision that's carefully vague, dodging the reality like a symptom of a plague. You're polishing the rhetoric, keeping it bright, distilling the then from the middle of the night. But I'm grinding the thickness of the oxide on the floor. I don't recognize the luster of the us anymore. Time is just oxidation, the jury of an ancient shared breath, ignoring the entropy and the voluntary death. Affection is a system that eventually goes cold, a thermodynamic story that's already been told. The anachronism is ringing a thrumming in the dark, seeking out the logic of a long extinguished spark. But isolation was the currency, their heavy-duty fee, to buy a version of the silence that was finally free. The moon is a blue wave pressing on the pane. A heavy-duty satellite watching the rain. The room was a vacuum with static and heat until the telephone triggered a sudden retreat. That ring was a gunshot, a surgical strike, turning the present to something ghost-like. The radiator died in a shiver of rust as the moonlight ignited the dancing dust. Suddenly the carpet is rustling with leaves, drying in the draft that the memory weaves. The air is getting thin, the oxygen is spent on the rainbow of a winter that neither of us meant. It's a slow-motion shipwreck, a tectonic slide, with nowhere for the shivering spirit to hide. Your voice is a silver blade cutting through the fog, a metallic vibration in a rhythmic cog. The present is a structure that's starting to fail, a hollowed-out hull with a tattered sail. Time is an arsonist, a beautiful crime, leaving only shiny ashes in the gears of the time. I'm back in the lobby of a dying hotel, where the vapor of our breath is a story to tell. Washington Square is a whiteout of gray, swallowing the words that we couldn't quite say. There's a sharp silver edge to the things that you weave, a precise imprecision I used to believe. But the air is too rare, it's a deficit of breath, a sensory haunting of a voluntary death. Yeah. The conversation is cutting, it's precious and cold, a jagged edge luster that's starting to fold. We are sinking in the parlor, we are drowning in the hall, watching the shadows scratch at the wall. The distance is a phantom that demands to be heard in the surgical silence of every third word. Then the click, the disconnect, the static returns, but the cold is a pilot that never learns. It's a slow-motion shipwreck, a tectonic slide, with nowhere for the shivering spirit to hide. Your voice is a silver blade cutting through the fog, a metallic vibration in a rhythmic cog. The present is a structure that's starting to fail, a hollowed-out hull with a tattered sail. Time is an arsonist, a beautiful crime, leaving only shiny ashes in the gears of the time. The taste of metal on the tip of the tongue, a song of the old for the ears of the young. The blue light is heavy, the radiator's dead, just a handful of shiny ashes in the bed. The hotel is a ghost, the square is a blur, staying in the vacuum of the things we were. Shiny ashes, shiny ashes. The fire is gone. The pulse in my palm is a frantic, jagged beat against the plastic fossil in the humid midnight heat. That ring wasn't a greeting, it was a breach of the door, a psychological burglary across the bedroom floor. I know the cadence of that voice, the way the syllables lean. a soft-spoken sabotage of everything between. I'm not nostalgic, you say, a dry and silver thread, while you're stitching up the curtains of the ghost inside my head. Washington Square was in a harbor or a grace. It was a high velocity climb in a low rent space. I was the victim, I was the accomplice in the hall, writing our own warrants on the peeling hotel wall. Now you're standing in the receiver, a shadow in the wire, trying to trade a handful of diamonds for a dying fire. But I can see the oxide on the blades, you're hiding there, tucked behind the jewelry of the promises you swear. The interest on my sanity is a debt I won't renew. I'm bankrupt on the history and the hollowed out view. It's a home invasion in a rhythmic velvet tone, but I'm reclaiming the marrow and the sovereign bone. The wire is the fuse. The silence is the news. The danger isn't the logic or the words you choose to say.